Hi, I'm Matthew Malcolm with California Ag Network, and today in Chowchilla, Central Valley dairy producers gathered to learn more about the TriColored Blackbird, an endangered species that will likely inhibit their forage harvest this year. Samantha Arthur, the Conservation Project Manager of Audubon, California, discussed the nature of this bird species and their efforts to both support the farmer and protect the TriColored Blackbird.
The TriColored Blackbird is particularly of interest to us because it is almost entirely within California. So about 99% of the species resides here in California. Their native habitat is in the Central Valley, so they're breeding here in the spring. For most of the year, they're in winter mixed flocks with other blackbirds. So you'll see them with red-winged blackbirds mixed in and kind of spread throughout the coast and up the Sacramento and San Joaquin Valley. In the spring, they sort of start in the south end in the San Joaquin Valley, and they separate from other blackbirds, and just the TriColored Blackbirds are together in colonies. And the way to distinguish a TriColored Blackbird, it's important because it can look pretty similar to other blackbirds. It has a red shoulder and then a white patch right below that red shoulder. Red-winged blackbirds will also have the red shoulder, but it's that white bar below the patch there that distinguishes the TriColored Blackbird. And the other thing that distinguishes it is its behavior. So the colonial breeding in the spring. They separate out in the spring in the San Joaquin Valley, and they basically scope and look for areas to breed. So they're looking for a nesting structure, so vegetation that's upright where they can basically build their nest suspended above ground, about 18 inches off the ground. And they prefer to have it above water, so that's why oftentimes we're seeing them in irrigated fields. Irrigated triticale fields is where they've started nesting as their wetland habitat has diminished. So their natural habitat is, cattails in a wetland. But with less of that natural habitat, they seem to be scoping out and finding these triticale fields that they nest in. About 38% of the population is on farms, so that's a big proportion of the population, and also the largest colonies are on these farms. So oftentimes when just one colony is at risk, that can represent a big proportion of the whole global population. The recent statewide survey found about 145,000 birds left, and that's a number that's down historically, was in the millions, about 100 years ago. So we've seen a drop, and that's why Audubon's really engaged and concerned about this bird. And it's also, we know it's a challenge for producers who have the birds come and nest in their fields, and so we're working with Farm Bureau, Western United Dairymen, and Dairy Cares, and NRCS to form a partnership to try to support farmers who are hosting this bird. And so there's an incentive program where folks who find TriColored Blackbird in their field can connect with the Natural Resource Conservation Service for financial reimbursement for a portion of the costs of their harvest delay. So we hope that can be helpful in protecting the species because we want to see it thrive in California. The species was just listed in December under the California Endangered Species Act. So it's a state listed species now, which means take is prohibited. So those nests in fields that have eggs can't be taken against California law. And the federal regulation is under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. So that's kind of their overlap, but it's not federally listed as an endangered species.
Thank you, Samantha. It is great to have organizations and associations like these to help support the dairy producers in these times. Learn more about the identification of this bird and what to do if you discover it in your forage crops by reading the coming issue of California Dairy Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.